Hello.
Always a good start.
We nearly didn't work there because it, for some reason, said you were trying to reconnect. So we were like, oh, failed at the first hurdle. Hello.
Hello.
This is my page. No, I'm joking. We're going to do this on my page, Stories of Our Lives, for the first one, just because we chose to do it there, and we might do our next one on Kerry's page. But this is our first show together. We've got a show.
The Kerry and Frank show.
You know, nothing too sensational or anything, but we just decided to start working together to pull our collective wisdom or silliness, whichever way you want to judge it. And we're just going to talk about things that come up for us, you know, in our businesses and in our lives, and just things that we have found that you know, I think first of all is like that we're both pretty quirky, so things that come up that are quirky, but they're going to be in line with kind of how we try to live our lives, and you know, what little hacks or whatever you want to call it that work for us, and things we've noticed, and also just a rich tapestry of human experience, so quirky things that come up as well. How are you going with it? So what do you think? What do you think?
We've been talking about this for a long time, and we've both been doing lives and different things, and we did quirky lives sort of the other day, and got, you know, we realised how our chemistry is quite good sometimes, and we work well together. But it's about trying to share the kitchen conversations, but that's why we're doing it in our kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that we have kitchen conversations that are, without being egotistical about it, we discuss and debate a lot of things about life and of how we live and what life's all about, and how we can share that. And said, well, we should be sharing this more. And we've floated that idea with a few people, and quite a few people said you guys should work together, and we've talked about that a lot. And we said we were going to do it last year and we didn't do it.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to overthink these things, we thought, right, okay, we're just gonna do it in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think, and
here we are.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And I think, you know, it'll become clear, I think, as we go on, you know, kind of what we're thinking of doing. But we're very much kind of, I suppose, trying to connect people, trying to, both of us have dealt with issues of, you know, wanting more out of life, and, you know, as younger people, thinking there's got to be more than just the 9-to-5 kind of thing. And I think a lot of people resonate with that. And we've spent most of our adult lives in a kind of tension, I suppose, with what you should do, all the shoulds that you know, you should settle down, you're 30 now, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. And we've both been, for most of our adult lives, been like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to find my own way. I'm going to find a different way of doing it. I'm not sure how it works. And through that, we've collected a lot of, just, you know, doesn't make us special or anything, but we've collected a lot of information, and just, you know, and just ways of, you know, getting aware of who you are and trying to be who you are and all of that kind of stuff. So we haven't really got a remit as such with this, but it'll become clear. So like, for example, we haven't got a title. We don't really know what we're doing. We don't know really the structure or how long. We just have decided to start, and that is loosely the title of this first show. Is Just start.
Kind of, if how much we can overthink things, it is. Like, I was talking to somebody, I went networking earlier on, and I've just like they said that Frank and I were going to do this, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but we were just going to start. And she was just like, yeah, do it, just start. And that's a really great theme. That here we are, just making glasses of water. We're just so well prepared. A great theme to just of what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Like, when we talk about like just starting.
Yeah.
It's a sake for, yeah, it's a sake of our interest is people. I mean, and of why do people do what they do? And you know, like Frank's kind of take on it is sort of stories, and of what's your story, and mine's kind of what's your story, and what's stopping you in your story for you to go and do the things that you want to be doing.
Yeah.
and when we talk about starting, we can so overcomplicate it. And honestly, it's of the different things that we thought that it had to be like a certain way. So if we, I can't honestly the amount of times we've moved it this way, we've moved that way, that way. I don't want that in the background. I can't have that like that. All the considerations that you have about how it should be. I posted that we were doing a show, and then it's kind of, well, what's a show? What does a show mean?
What does it mean?
We have to do that? And then before this, I clicked on somebody. One of my business buddies had like somebody TV, and I thought, oh, maybe it should be TV. Maybe it should be Kerry and Frank TV. And then the list could go on and on and on. Right. And of when do you actually start? When do you press the go button?
Yeah. And
you're going to mess up. If of how we started, I'm thinking, well, we should have at least have had a theme, or at least have had something, because who's going to want to watch? And I say with anything in your life, it's like, how does that work? It's like, oh God, you've got to know the end product to be able to start. It's like, well, I don't know where it's going to go. We don't know, but we know that we have good chemistry. We know that it'll be funny at times, maybe, but it's. I suppose we just wanted to share some things that could maybe support other people thinking, have a go. Have a go at life.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's not just a bit of context. It's not because we think we're better or anything like that. It's just that we feel, if you're out there and you happen to see this video and you're like, completely content in your life as the dog whines to come in, if you're completely sorted, and we're not trying to say that you're living the wrong life or anything, absolutely not. But I think if what we are maybe reaching out to is people that feel a bit like us, that are trying to find a different way, trying to be who they are in their work as well, not maybe not doing a job that you don't really want to do because you spend a lot of your time at work, and why would you do that? But that brings its own issues. So, it's trying to create a community really around that kind of, what have you, we've got one life, and, and that's it. It's a cliche, but, you have got a finite amount of time, and then you're not going to be here anymore. And it's like, I did an interview yesterday with a guy, and he's like, at some point in the future, I'm going to be a memory for my kids or my grandkids, and that's that's the truth, that's real. So what do you want to do while you're here? And if you've got something that burns in you that you have always hidden down because of the shoulds and coulds, how do you get that out? How do you be who you really are? How can you do that? How can you push through and find a way to be that person and to get whatever it is, even if it's just taking guitar lessons, whatever it is, or starting a business? What do you want to do, and how can you get out of your own way sometimes?
Big or small.
Yeah, big or small, whatever it is. So today we're in the spirit of doing our first one, and in the spirit of we're not going to really give you information. Ours is very feeling kind of based thing. It's like, it's in the spirit of, and in the spirit of our first session, it's like, just start, take a step, do something, manifest something, do one physical thing that takes you to what you want to do in some way. You know what I mean? What is it? Just even if it's literally look up something that to do with, even if you Google search your dream job or whatever it is, just
if you
take a step.
Search your dream job, you won't get your dream job. You have to have some idea of what you're going to Google.
Yeah, not your dream job. Yeah, whatever it is for you, Google that thing. Just take a step. Start looking at the information, because the minute you start focusing on that thing, things start to happen. Things start to drop into place. Whatever it might be, at least you get clear. I mean, if it's impossible, then okay. What can you do close to it? You know what I mean? So in the spirit of that, I think that's the kind of context for what we were thinking of. And, I think the structure that we've talked about at the moment is we're going to...
have questions.
Yeah, we're going to have questions that we ask each other, and we're going to kind of, maybe one of us is going to take, at the end of the session... one of us is going to set the theme for the next week, or something like that. We don't really know, but we're going to.
We don't really know. I think also because we're quite open to people asking us questions about life, really. I think because there's a female and a male opinion, it's quite interesting of how, you know, we talk about things. Like I will bring my viewpoint from things, and then Frank will have a different view, which will open my eyes, and vice versa. So I'm quite curious to see what comes from our discussions, because we do discuss and debate lots of different issues. You know, and in terms of starting of like what we did, Dog, you've got to lay down because you're driving me mad. Is we've got of where do you start? Like the part of us. I mean, like this started. We can tell you about this journey. Is that we started when by noticing that we like to do certain things. So that can be like one way that you do it is just to have a think about like your last week of what did you like doing, what were the things that you were inspired you, or what were the things that you saw that other people like doing, so that it can be something that you like, it can be something that you love. But when you're trying to find something that you want to start, sometimes it's something that's the opposite of that. Sometimes it's something that pisses you off. Because if something's pissing you off, you've got an opinion about it. You're invested, and that can lead you into questioning about life, about your life, like your position here on the planet. Of like, what do you want to be doing? And sometimes it's you start there because you've got a lot to say. You want to explore things, or you want to share what you've got to say about something, and it can be that it can be that something that annoys you about something. It might be that something annoys you about yourself. You know that you're lazy about something, or that you want to challenge yourself to do something different or radical, or you know, just like I've got to change something up, so I'm going to sign up for a crazy challenge or something. But it sometimes it's the starting that gets you. And if you're watching this, which hopefully there are going to be a few people watching at some point, post it here. You know, share it with people. I think because if you know, we want to hear. We're the most curious people about most things, and that's why we could talk forever. I mean, like for our kids, it's really hard. It's like, Mummy, you know, we have to put a hand on the shoulder sort of to get our attention away from a conversation that we really want to discuss and debate. And so if you're looking for someone just to talk, or just to say, you know, I want to do this, or just to say it out loud in a place, just like post it on here. Of being able to say what it is that you want to do, or you know, or you think it's mad. It's just like somebody yesterday, you know, one of my clients yesterday said something about dressing up as a seal or something. It was crazy.
We don't talk about that on this video. Don't not the weekend stuff. No, absolutely not.
But it is, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't matter. It's like, why? It doesn't got to be serious about what you want to do. It's just like, who do you are, what do you want to do?
So Kerry's saying, let this be the repository of your dreams. This is where you can articulate them.
Want them all.
Come and tell us what you want to do. And we will tell you that we don't know how you can do that, but we all behind you.
We are.
But you know what I mean? I mean, I think the thing about it is that we can be, especially when you get to kind of our age and you get older, and you've kind of, you know, you've got kids, or you've got your family, and you've got a circle of friends maybe, but it's more difficult to kind of articulate these things because we're kind of on a pattern. And maybe one of the things we're both trying to do is trying to create a community where you can kind of articulate that kind of stuff and actually say, you know what, it's not fluffy. Okay, maybe it is fluffy, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know what I mean? It's fluffy.
Flim-flam.
Flim-flam, yeah. Maybe it's flim-flam, my dream inside, what I want to do. I want to start a business, you know, a pony riding business. I don't know, you know, I'm making it up. But whatever it is for you, you go, this is where I can say it. You know, I can say it, and I know that these guys won't judge me because they're just as weird as I am.
I'm not weird.
Let me just give a little bit of context from my...
your weirdness?
No, not for my weirdness. No, not at all.
I think we should share your weirdness. People want to hear.
People are very well aware of that already. For me, I think one of the things I would say about starting, I think, is it's that when you start thinking about it, when you start thinking about what you want to do, you've just opened your mind up. You know, we've all got this amazing brain, and it's going to get to work pretty quickly on all the reasons why you shouldn't start, because it's going to come up with considerations, it's going to come up with ideas, it's going to come up with different, maybe some cool things about what else you should do, and it's going to add on things. Maybe it's going to start snowballing into a bigger project. Then there's going to be the considerations of why, you know, it's not quite right, as Kerry was saying earlier, you know, oh, we got to get this right, got to get this right. As someone that's tried to write, you know, books for years, and I've got the greatest postmodern novel upstairs sitting in a drawer, which is so gargantuan and ridiculous because it was never right, because it had to be perfect. You know, I feel like I could speak about starting, do you know what I mean, and get to a point in your life when you've got kids and it's not about you anymore, and you go, just freaking start. It doesn't have to be perfect, and try not to dwell too much on how you envisage it's going to be. Get after it, take a step, and then stuff starts to happen. It'll form its own path.
Because you don't know where that next step leads you until you take the first step, right? It's like, because if you start a conversation, then the conversation from that point starts a different conversation, but you can't, oh, sorry about wobbling you there. You can't do that. You don't know until you've stepped out. It's like sort of, even like, it's like getting all my stuff ready to go for a run, and you know, getting to the door. It's like actually getting out of the door. All the thinking about it and everything else gets done before you walk out the door. But when you get out the door, you're doing it. Yeah. And then it's a different feel completely. Then, so it's the starting can be, you know, the most powerful part of it, because once you're on the road, you're on the road. And it makes such a difference. Yeah,
I mean, you know, just to give you a little example, as Kerry said earlier on, we've been talking about this for over a year, doing this show, or whatever it was. It wasn't called a show back then, but, you know, some kind of working
it's a show
together.
Now.
But, you know, we started the idea, and then we got into our considerations, and then, you know, it had to be this, and it was going to be this, and what should this be, and what should this be, and before you know it, life with two young kids has come up, and, you know, I'm doing a class over here, Kerry's doing a class over there, and suddenly it gets forgotten. It's like, you know, when are we going to do something? And then, you know, we've made a real effort this time, haven't we? Actually, that's absolute bollocks. We haven't made a real effort. We just followed through and took a step and said, this is what we're going to do. We didn't. This is a funny thing. Once you start getting into the flow of doing it, it's not an effort. You just do it when it comes up.
It's really hard to sit here and talk.
We had so much planning to do with doing a video in our kitchen.
We've got a little, so just to get you know, so you're sat on a tripod, a tiny little tripod thing, on top of the DeskJet printer to make you up higher, so we didn't have double chins. On the desk, you know, sitting in our kitchen, and you know, I mean, like obviously things will evolve. And a part of this not being scripted and it being right, we're going to talk about this today and talk about that today, and we will get more of a cadence about it, is that we wanted it to be a bit raw, a bit rustic, a bit real.
It's real.
You know, that's the whole thing. And sort of, I think the authenticity of life is so scripted, so filtered. You know, like sort of that we should maybe put a thing on this to say no filter. It's like, well, why is everybody? Now we've got to say that there's no filter, so everybody knows that there's no filter, rather than it just being no filter.
Yeah, we're not going to come on. That's it. I mean, you know, we're two people here that have struggled with, you know, so much stuff, and we've got to a point in our lives where we've found some things. Like for me, it's been a daily, you know, and for Kerry actually, we you know, exercise has been really important for me. Burpees have been a way of committing to something every day. So this week I'm doing 100 burpees in the morning. I do a little bit of meditation, which is nothing fluffy other than sitting quietly and just, you know, I read a really cool quote, and it was something like, it's just sitting quietly and not reacting to whatever comes up. So you just, you know, you hear a noise, you listen to it and you let it go. You hear a thought come up, or in your mind a thought comes up, you kind of look at the thought and you just kind of let it go. You know, I've got to get up and I've got to scratch, or I've got to get up and let the cat out. No, just watch that thought go past. The cat's still there. You're just a person sitting in a room, and a daily gratitude list. You know, so we're not sitting here saying, hey, we live magnificent lives. We're going to make your life magnificent. That's not what we're doing. You know, all of my stories of the live stuff has been unedited. My filmmaking skills are zero, so the videos are rough. They sometimes the link breaks, but that's kind of who I am. You know what I mean?
And that's how we want it to be.
Exactly. It's real life. It's not Instagram pictures where we all go, we're beautiful. It's not that. It's just ordinary people talking about. I don't know. I feel, I'm just going to say one thing. I just feel like there's a zeitgeist thing where, you know, we don't want to be differential anymore. I don't know if we trust other people who don't seem to want to make lives better for everybody to do that anymore. And I think people are starting to wake up and go, we want to do something ourselves. You know what I mean? We want to actually do that and connect and make communities. And that's partly what I think my remit here is, you know, that's kind of what...
As if mine's not the same.
Well, then we're in trouble. I guess yours is the same. We've not really talked about it. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Awkward silence.
Oh dear. So, what's the question then? I think part of it is that we decided to do it together because of our connection and everything, and it'd be fun. But like, what? Throw us a question. Like, sort of, what kind of questions do you think that people will come up with, or what would be the question that you would ask a couple that you saw? Okay, what kind of question would you ask them?
I think you know, having not watched you coach, because that would be weird. Having you been around you coaching for so long, and just, you know, talking to you about coaching and what you do, I've learned a lot from that. And one of the things that I find fascinating with you is looking for the light in someone, looking for the energy. So I'd say where do you light up? That would be the interest for me. Is like, what really lights you up? Because Kerry's told me about clients, you know, before. I'm not naming no names or anything like that. She's very, very good. She has high integrity, so don't worry. But she'll say to me, you know, oh, I spoke to this person and they said, you know, I really want to go and be an accountant. You know.
No one's ever said that.
That's really what I want to do.
Does anyone ever say that?
And Kerry's like, oh, okay, so that's a no. You know, that's clearly what you not want to do. And they're kind of in their theoretical minds saying what they think they should say. Kerry cuts through that to find out, and you'll find it's like, what I really want to do is I want to give guitar lessons, and they're really lit up and they're really enthusiastic about it. I mean, obviously there are questions about how practicable it is and all of those kinds of things, but that's where they are. Yeah. That's that resonance in their soul, whatever it is, you know. So my thing about starting is like, what lights you up? Where's your joy? Where's the spark inside you? Where's that fire that we, as we get acculturated into the adult world and everything, we dampen it. We can dampen it so much because we start to get responsibility, and you know, we start to get responsibility. Start to get people tell you what to do all the time, and we start to dampen that kind of shining light inside us. So, you know, relight it. There's a song there. Relight your fire. No. But you know what I mean? That's what I would say. So go on, where are you going to go? So
that's interesting, isn't it? Because yesterday I was doing a class with some women, and that was one of the things that I was really, you know, there are certain takeaways, because I would just want to give everybody everything in a short amount of time. But one of the takeaways is that if you're bothered by something, like if something's your thing, it's your thing. You're never gonna, you know, by eating too much or drinking too much or watching shit TV or distracting your mind or getting you completely consumed by the phone, you know, a phone screen, is that no matter what you do, if you love to do something, even if it's, you know, like some of my clients have had the weirdest things. I mean, like, honestly, it's just like the straight, like, you know, who wants to dress up in a seal costume? She was so excited about it, and you know, but that's not for anybody else to judge. Right. The content is irrelevant. It's who you are within that. Yeah. And if that's your thing, that will always be your thing. You can put as many distractions and qualifiers and considerations and or blame or judgment, or somebody else is not allowing you to do this, or they made you do this, or they made you get married and have kids, or not that anyone's made you to do that, eh, babe? It's kind of, it's one of those, it's like if it's in you, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So relax around it and like go, well, there's nothing you can do about it. That's what I've been coaching for 15 years, and I see that in people of a throwaway comment. It can be right at the end of a coaching session, in the first coaching session, and they will have all of this, I'm going to do this and everything else, and we kind of work through stuff and everything else, and then they go, well, what I'd really like to do is go and run a bee farm, but that's not good. And it's like, whoa, stop the world, stop the clock, what just happened? And you'll know that about yourself. Like, as a coach, I can point that out to you. But if you're watching this and you think, well, what is that for me? Have just a look through what your life on the things that, like Frank was saying, but the joys. It's like, what's fun? What delights you? What annoys you? What's the thing that you can't help but be drawn back to looking at?
Yeah.
It's just it's just that you can't. It's just stuff, and it can be anything. It could be that you wanted to, run a chicken farm or anything.
That's it.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
If it comes from you, it comes from your heart. It comes from a space in you that is yours. Yeah. It's not anybody else's. Right. You can convince anybody else that it's a really good idea, but if it's not going to hurt anybody, then why not? Why not? Like, what else? One of the questions that you ask. That I think is always throws people on your when you interview for Stories of Our Lives is that what are we doing here? And I'm like, oh, what do people say? We have to watch because you watch some of the interviews of it's that how much we're connected in life, how much when you watch so many. The media and different things that you can kind of get consumed by the external part of our lives. And now it's 24/7. It's, you could just sit in your armchair and just watch your life go by. Or not your life, somebody else's vision of life go by. Yeah. And miss it completely. Yeah. It's like, so, but the thing that comes out is how much we are all connected, how much we all just want, really when it comes down to it, is just to find the joy in your life. And like, that does sound, I found this great word, I love that word, flim-flam, today. It's like, it might be fluffy, it might be woo-woo, it might be any of those things, but it's true.
Yeah. I think completely lost my thread. I had something, and I was just thinking about what you said at the end. I'm going to try and think about what I was just thinking about, and I've completely lost it. Thinking. Yeah.
Power of Habit. We've written his.
I wrote The Power of Habit down. Just there's a book by Charles Duhigg. I think his name Duhigg. I think, The Power of Habit. Really good book about if you want to start. How to make it easier for yourself by setting things up. So if you set your running shoes by your bed, it makes it easier and that kind of thing. But that's a side issue. I know what I was going to say. I think what we're talking about doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to change the world. None of us really can change the world in the way we all probably want to. Maybe somebody could, but taking a step towards what you want is interesting. So it doesn't have to be a business, it doesn't have to be a grandiose scheme. It can just be, you finding time to ride a horse or something because that's what you love to do. Or it could be a community project or a political project. We know some very powerful women that have got into politics, they've got young kids, and they've found a way to go and get involved in politics, and that's what they want to do. They want to change it that way. I've spent a lot of time trying to change the world by mentally chastising the world for not being better than it should be. That, funnily enough, hasn't worked very well. It hasn't done a lot of changing. But what's in me is I've always been a harmoniser. I would just want people to get on. I grew up in a pub where everybody came and drank and got on with each other, and I suppose I want to recreate that. That's my utopia. So it's just finding your thing, whatever that thing is. Go and do that. Because
why should they do that?
I think. Well, I would say. For me, there isn't any reason. That's not an answerable question. All we can say is that for us, for both of us, because there's no guarantee that if you do that, your life's going to be perfect. Certainly not. But I would certainly like to spend my time being me more than having to put on a front and pretend that I'm enjoying the life that I've created for myself by doing a job I don't like and then drinking my way out of it because I don't like that job, or whatever it is that you do to manage yourself and shield that part of you that you really want to look at and you really want to set free, but you can't set it free because it's under so many layers of defence, because you got told that you were, I don't know, you were going to be rubbish when you were older, or you were never going to make it as this, that, or the other, or whatever it was. So you've hidden that bit away. You know what I mean? So there's no guarantees that what we're saying is going to make your life brilliant. It might bring you some more frustrations, but if you really resonate in that area, I don't know. To me, it's not the pursuit of happiness. It's experiencing joy. I think that's a beautiful thing, because happiness I'm not sure about, but a sense of joy.
That sounds great, doesn't it? Because happiness I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about this kind of, this idea that we could be happy. I don't really know what that means, but I feel a sense of joy sometimes when I do what I do. Whether it's being in class or interviewing people or whatever it is, or just connecting people. That sense of joy, that feeling of joy in the moment, not as a theoretical place where we're happy. I think that's a different thing. So I guess if you're doing what you really love to do more, whether it's professionally or just you find time for it, I guess you'll just be resonating on a different frequency.
Those ripples go out.
Yeah, I really do think that's true. Yeah.
For me, it's just like when, no matter what it is, it's sort of like of asking, what's the reason why you would do that?
Yeah,
is that when you're like, if your life's only a 4 out of 10, that's where that's where you reside, and that's what you put out into the world.
When you say 4 out of 10, what do you mean?
Oh,
who's making that
joy?
judgment?
No, you. You, not me.
No, I know. I just wanted you to.
If whatever you so 10's like I could poo. I'm so excited. This is the best life ever. Every moment. And 1 is like, why didn't someone knock me over before I got in the car? So if you, no matter where you are or what you're doing, the thing is that you have to take responsibility for doing that, for taking that step towards, or asking for what that is. Because if there's no one else that's going to do it for you, or even if they do, that's their version of what that is for you, not your version.
That's a really good clarification.
Because it's like, it's like sort of people buying you a present and it being, the right thing, really good, but it's just the wrong colour, or it's kind of, you can get it close, but you can't. It's like I can't create a dream for Frank. I can ask him, I can take him to experiences, but it's what he wants.
Yeah.
You have to own it. It has to come from him. This would do it, rather than my idea of what it would be is an interpretation of what it could be.
Yeah.
So, and the same as that, people can't interpret your wants and desires. They have to come from inside you.
I think one of the things that I would say is really important is speaking up. It's just get it off your chest. Speak up, get it out there. Because you know what? I mean, we might get focused at, like in a Gatsby kind of way, who loves a girl 5 years before and then creates this complete ideal out of her, and then meets her again in 5 years, and she's, you know, she's everything he wants, but not quite, because he's made such a dream out of her. Sometimes the things we latch onto, you know what I mean? We've got something that we're so, we're so fixed on as a dream that we can't have, and it's almost like we, a little martyr syndrome. We can want this dream and not have it, and and it keeps us safe. And actually get that up. Start talking to people about it, because you know what? It might not be what you want. It actually might be just an idea, and it might be something completely. So I would say whatever
that
you've
dream
got.
life. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's bigger, bolder, better.
Yeah.
And actually, no.
That's probably not exactly. Yeah.
It's probably not what you want at all.
It's probably not. Well, that's not what we're talking about either. We're not talking about a better you or a better life necessarily. We're just saying, I mean, you might give up everything you've got because it makes you happy to play the harp. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But it's like, where do you resonate? What's your tuning fork pitch? Do you know what I mean? What lights you up? And if you can't do it, maybe just start talking about it. Talk to us about it. Put it on here. Get it out into the world, and then see if it's real for you. That's what I would say. Is like, maybe starting is just articulating it and not keeping it inside you, where it's safe but it's burning a hole in your heart and soul. Talk to someone, tell them what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like, I just think that kind of honesty, in a culture now where we communicate so easily and readily, there's still so much left unsaid. And I think try radical honesty. Just like, I'm not saying tell people that they're ugly if you think they're not that your hair's really horrible. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, with yourself, try articulating what you really feel. You know what I mean? If there's something that you really, really want to do, maybe just tell someone. Confide in your closest friend. I would love to start a business doing this, and get it out there and see what happens. See what starts to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where do you go with it?
Well, we're back to where we started. It's just that things will start. Just start from there. Start raw. Because especially we lived in such a filtered society. So say if we watch screens, even doing lives now, you can put a filter on it, so we could sort of have filtered our wrinkles out and this, that, and the other, and it's just like, no.
Can you do that?
I know. Brilliant. There's a button there that we could have done. So it's not even the people that you think are being real are still a bit filtered. We're kind of like frightened of rawness, of truth, and it's like just, and then we, when we don't get what we want, i.e. we don't live that life, we end up sort of compensating in some way. You're compromising who you are, and that's that to me, that's sad.
I think that's completely.
I do sort of think, wow, how many, it's like, I get kind of like.
I think we got to be careful, because we don't want to be preachy about it. I mean, you know what? If some people are compromised, I'm not saying you are, but we could do that, and it's like, it's not about that. It's like, if you're compromising and you're okay with that, then listen to what we say, and that's fine for you. You know what I mean? But if you're not okay with it, and I'm guessing that most people that are compromising their lives, I'm going to do a class on the kind of difference between your inner private life, maybe who you are inside, and that public persona that you have. If those things aren't lined up, wow, maybe that's causing you a lot of frustration that you don't even see. You don't even see where it comes out with your kids, or it comes out with your work colleagues, or it comes out with your parents, or whatever it might be. It backs up on you some way. And you know what? My guess is, and it is a total guess, but I'm just thinking, I don't know, you could experience more joy maybe if you get after what you want. I think that's one of the things I would say as you yawn into what I'm saying.
Sorry. I wasn't yawning about you. Don't take it personally.
I'm not taking it personally. I'm just pointing it out.
So, this is our first show. We said that we were going to do half an hour.
Oh, did we? I didn't realise that.
It's like half an hour.
I didn't realise that.
And then we were going to do some question and answers. But obviously, this is our first show. We haven't done a huge amount of publicity about it yet, etc. So we were going to leave with a question about what we were going to do next time and when we were going to do it.
Yeah. And I have nothing to say because I have not thought about that at all. Get ready for a Rough and Ready show.
Rough and Ready Part 2.
Yeah, we might have to confer on that. I don't know. I tell you what. Why don't we just? I'm going to throw one at you. Why don't we talk about? Okay, the next show we do, I think we should do it on Friday. I actually think we should do more than one a week. Sorry, we're just making this up as we go along, right here. So we're probably going to talk about that after we finish the video. But I think we should do about awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. That's going to be my choice for the next one. Awareness.
Okay, let's go with that.
How to get more aware in your life about who you really are. So kind of what we're talking about today with a slightly different angle on it. Awareness, what does that mean? Awareness of who you are, awareness of your thinking. Where does your focus go? What do you focus on? Because what you focus on tends to put kind of like, dictate how you feel a lot of the time. So if you're focusing on a load of old crap stories about how terrible the world is, I'm guessing you might not be that happy in your life, you know what I mean? So, and that's not wrong, it's just being aware of it. So awareness as a way of
tool of change.
Yeah, getting some clarity. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good.
Okay, yeah. There we are. We'll
cool.
go with that. And so if you've got any questions, comments, we would love to hear them.
Yep.
Please do post in here once you've watched, or comment on Stories of Our Lives page, and contact us there. So if you'd like us to talk about a topic between us, we're quite open to that. Give us a mention, and we will see you next time.
We will see you definitely next time. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
All right, take it easy. Thanks
Bye.
a lot.